What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm your host, Warren, and we have a lot of huge Spider-Man news to go over today. There is a lot, but I think the biggest news that we recently got about Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland is that, according to these reports, MJ is not going to be the love interest of Peter Parker in Spider-Man 4. Now, some people hate this, some people love this, some people say it doesn't make sense, but it actually does make sense if you think about what was set up in the last Spider-Man film. MJ has no idea who Peter Parker is besides the fact that he went into the cafe at the very end, but in that scene, she didn't know who he was. And from what we've been told kind of about the plot and the vibe of Spider-Man 4 is that Peter Parker isn't really going to have a focus in this film. Don't worry, Spider-Man is, but that part of him, Peter Parker, has essentially died. He's really focused on being Spider-Man in this film. This is where we believe he is going to run into Black Cat, who could be played by Sydney Sweeney, who we recently saw in the Sony Spider-Man universe as Spider-Woman, and she looked fantastic. The suit that they gave her for the 4 seconds that you saw it in the film looked really good. She really looked the part. And now we have new rumors that she's actually joining the MCU and she could be playing Black Cat, Felicia Hardy, and that she'll be the main love interest for Tom Holland's Peter Parker in this film. Now, like I said, there's a lot of news to break down today, but I have a theory where I think this ultimately won't matter at all. MJ not being the love interest of Peter in this film, Spider-Man kind of getting with Black Cat, I don't think this will ultimately matter. So if you're a fan of Tom Holland and Zendaya as a couple in real life and as MJ and Peter Parker, the couple in the movies, don't fret too much. But first, let's break down all of this epic news that we got today and yesterday. And if you're new and you love Marvel and Spider-Man, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on a single Marvel video. We're also giving away a PS5 and Xbox Series X. More on that at the end of the video. So it appears that Sydney Sweeney is entering the MCU, and this is very, very interesting because there were already some theories, or we'll call it speculation out there, that she was kind of tricked by Sony when it came to Madam Web. It kind of sounded like she believed, and possibly Dakota Johnson as well, that they were actually joining the MCU, that they didn't know Sony and Marvel were really a different thing, which is kind of understandable if you don't really keep up with everything that is happening, because let's be honest, sometimes it can get pretty confusing. I mean, the Venom post-credit scene did show Tom Holland's Spider-Man. If you're not an avid Marvel fan, if you're just a casual Marvel fan who enjoys some of the movies and you watch them every now and then, you could very well think that they're in the same universe, Venom and Spider-Man. And then Madam Web, Spider-Woman, you could think they are also in the MCU, because not to mention the original script we have found out was supposed to include Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Actually, I think it was supposed to originally include Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, but at one point in time they had Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and we even have the concept art for that. They actually made it. So Sydney Sweeney could have been shown this concept art. She could have read the script that actually had Tom Holland's Spider-Man in it, and she could have actually thought that she was in the MCU, because after the movie came out, she did say that she would come back and play a character if she could do that, one with MJ, with Zendaya, and two with real Spider-Man. Dakota Johnson also said that the movie they made was nothing like the original movie that was pitched or was on the script. And she ended up firing her team right after the trailer for Madam Web dropped, leading everybody to believe that she might have also been a little bit misled into joining this movie, thinking that it was actually a part of the MCU. She actually made several statements that led us to believe that she thought it was in the MCU as well. So maybe Sydney Sweeney saying all these things and Kevin Feige seeing her in the Spider-Woman costume, which again, she looked great, maybe that sparked something inside of him to say, well, hey, she wants to join the MCU. I think she'd make a great Felicia Hardy, aka Black Cat. And based off of the art that we've seen as her as Black Cat, yeah, it really does look like it. But let's back up to all of the recent reports that we've gotten about this. The insider My Time to Shine Hello on her subscriber feed stated yesterday that Sydney Sweeney has had talks with Kevin Feige for a role in the MCU. Then on her normal Twitter page, she stated, just confirmed, Sydney Sweeney is in. Then fans automatically assumed that she was just going to play Black Cat, Felicia Hardy, since there have been rumors that Black Cat is indeed going to be the new romantic interest for Peter in the new Spider-Man movie. In fact, this was reported back on April 3rd by the new insider Holyfield News, who tweeted this in the beginning of April. Tom Holland's Spider-Man 4 script is making great progress. Kevin Feige and Sony are mutually happy on their agreement for the film. Spider-Man 4 is set to pick up right after the events of Daredevil Born Again, with the crime rate rising in New York City due to Kingpin being elected as mayor. Numerous numerous of Spider-Man villains will make an appearance in the film, as Sony wanted, working for Kingpin with some envying him. And then a follow-up tweet reads this: Feige also wants a new love interest for Peter Parker with a black cat emoji. Expect an official announcement around August. So Holyfield News reported this at the beginning of April. This was actually on April 2nd. And then today we heard this. Breaking news, Sydney Sweeney has been cast as Black Cat / Felicia Hardy in Spider-Man 4 starring Tom Holland. She will be the main love interest for the movie, but Zendaya's MJ will slowly remember who Peter is. The love triangle will happen with MJ and Felicia. Black Cat and her father will have a past with Kingpin, and Felicia wants revenge. Now, side note, this is coming from the account Austinverse, and they claim that this is their first scoop, so very, very new. Not a proven track record yet. Doesn't mean it's not true, but take it with a grain of salt for now. However, the thing is, all of these reports seem to line up with each other, all pointing towards Sydney Sweeney being cast in the MCU and her playing Black Cat. Now, I've always actually really liked the story of Black Cat and Spider-Man, and I am really excited that she is going to be in Spider-Man 4. For those who may not be too familiar, in the comics, Felicia Hardy's father is a cat burglar. He eventually gets arrested, and Felicia Hardy dons the Black Cat costume to break him out of prison. On that same night, she meets Spider-Man, and unfortunately, her father dies. However, she would go on to feel kind of a connection with Spider-Man, one that she hasn't felt with anybody before. She goes on to believe that she can really trust Spider-Man, and she ends up thinking that she's in love with him. However, Spider-Man does not have her trust, so she looks for many different ways to try and prove herself to Spider-Man. And ultimately, he would end up seeing the good in her, and he would end up trying to get her criminal record removed. The two of them team up a lot, and they even go up against Kingpin together. However, eventually, Black Cat believes that she is sort of a liability to Spider-Man, that she's going to get him hurt because she is just a normal person. She has no superpowers, no superhuman strength, nothing. And him always having to save her might get him killed. So, in order to kind of fix this, she goes to Kingpin to undergo the same process that was used to create Scorpion and the Human Fly. However, unfortunately, it's a trick by Kingpin. She ends up getting some powers, but ultimately, these powers end up jinxing Spider-Man, basically giving him bad luck. Eventually, Spider-Man realizes that something is going on, and he breaks up with Felicia Hardy. And then he goes to Doctor Strange and asks him to sort of remove whatever is happening to him. So Doctor Strange removes sort of a spell on him, and when he does that, he actually alters the source and he changes Black Cat's powers in the process. So she ends up getting superhuman strength, agility, balance, stamina, vision, and she gets retractable claws. So she begins a life on her own, kind of stealing from the rich and giving to the poor, kind of a Robin Hood story, until eventually she runs into Spider-Man again and their relationship gets rekindled. It's a really cool story that I would love to see on screen. And now really is the perfect time to do it because MJ is out of the equation. However, like I said in the beginning, I don't think it's going to matter too much. The report from Austinverse says that Black Cat will be the main love interest for the movie, but Zendaya will slowly remember who Peter is and the love triangle will begin. Well, what's interesting is that they actually revealed something about the final scene from Spider-Man No Way Home where MJ and Spider-Man are talking. After the movie came out, they released the script for the final lines in which it said that MJ looks at Peter with sort of a remembrance, sort of a feeling that she knows who he is. So it does kind of seem like she might go on to remember who he is. And I think ultimately at the end of all of these Spider-Man movies, we go to Spider-Man 6 with Tom Holland, him and MJ will end up together. But I still don't think this ultimately matters because of Secret Wars. Even if MJ does not remember who Peter is, a lot is about to happen in the MCU, specifically right after Spider-Man 4. And let's not forget that Sony still does want Spider-Man 4 to be somewhat of a multiversal film, so the ending should have a lot of multiversal aspects to it. Then after Secret Wars, we are going to get a soft reboot of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm assuming Doctor Strange is going to stick around, and I know Spider-Man is going to stick around because Tom Holland still has many movies left in his contract after Secret Wars. So I think after going through everything, and really the threat to people knowing who Peter Parker was, the threat of that was to the multiverse. That's why the multiverse was seemingly collapsing at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. That's why he had everybody forget who they were. Well, after Secret Wars and the reboot, that's not really going to be a problem. So if the spell is still in effect, he could easily ask Doctor Strange, hey, can you remove it? I really want to be with MJ. I really want to see my buddy Ned. I want to talk to Happy. I want to talk to the Avengers. I want everything to go back to normal since the multiverse isn't in jeopardy anymore, since we basically reset it. And at that point in time, we will still have Spider-Man 5 and 6 to go after Secret Wars. So eventually, I think that this won't really matter. I think it will be a great on-screen story, and I think it'll be really, really cool to see Black Cat and Spider-Man in a relationship together and possibly have MJ kind of remember and come back into the picture, forming that love triangle. But ultimately, this offers a great opportunity for Black Cat to shine and MJ still eventually come back and be the main love interest of Peter Parker. So overall, I think this is a great idea. I really hope it happens. A lot of different people have reported this, so fingers crossed, but let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you hate it? Or do you love it? Let me know how you feel in the comments down below. And please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date on all the Marvel and Spider-Man news. And if you comment on the video and subscribe to the channel, you are automatically entered in our giveaway for a chance to win a PS5 or Xbox Series X. The winner picks one item and we pick one random comment from a random video at the end of each month. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.